first thing I'm doing is I'm just gessoing the chipboard that I cut apart. It's just some regular black chipboard, medium weight, and I just wanted to create the look of kind of a couple of little mini canvases attached together, but I didn't have any canvases in the size that I wanted, so I'm basically just creating them. I just cut the chipboard into the two sides have the same, they're the same measurements, and I think it was 2.5 by 3.5, and then the middle one is 4 by 5. So now I'm taking some blue tissue paper from my stash. I love working with tissue paper. It's one of my favorite mediums, and the Skittles that I just put in my hand are not going on the project. I'm eating them. I'm a big sweets junkie when I'm working on projects, y'all. But I'm just adding the tissue paper down with a little bit of Mod Podge and scrunching it up just a little bit to create some texture. And I'm going to put the tissue paper on the back side well because I want it to be finished from both sides. And I'm just using a regular little foam brush to adhere this down with. And the reason I gessoed the black chipboard was because I knew that that tissue paper was pretty transparent and I didn't want it to be like a dark black coming through. I held it up against it and I just thought it would look better with white paint showing through. And now I'm going to grab a mask from my stash. It's just a little music note mask that I have. I'm using some Crackle Medium to do the masking here. Typically I use some stucco patch, and it's really inexpensive, but this Crackle Medium, although it is a little bit more expensive, you don't get nearly as much. It's got a really cool effect. The thicker you put on the Crackle Medium, the bigger the crackles will be, and then the smaller you do it, the smaller they will be. So in between all those areas that you masked, instead of just looking like modeling paste, it will actually have crackles in it, so it's a really pretty effect. And I love this music note mask because even if you can't see the music notes because it gets covered up, just the texture of in between the notes is really, really pretty. So I love this mask. And I've picked some of the papers from the Engraver line, which was in the main kit this month. I'm just going to fussy cut a few of them out. I know a lot of people say they have troubles with fussy cutting. It's very easy for me. I got these little tiny Martha Stewart scissors, and they do all the work for you. I keep them super sharp. I don't cut anything else with them but paper. And I pretty much just move the paper, if that makes sense, if you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But I've used X-Acto knives to try to cut, you know, elements like this out, especially little tiny stems like that, and it just didn't work for me. So once I got these scissors, I really started enjoying fussy cutting because it just makes it so much easier. And I'm just cutting one of the clocks out from the paper line right now, and then I've got that piece in the background that I'm going to start cutting the little circles out. I love any paper line that has tons of elements to fussy cut. It's just right up my alley. You don't have to use a whole lot of embellishments from your stash if you've got a paper line like this where you can just use the paper itself. And for some reason, the hardest thing in the world for me is to cut a circle. Even with a line to follow, I cannot ever seem to cut a perfect circle. And now I'm going to start spraying a couple of colors. I was going for a blue and white and brown theme on this. So I'm using some shimmers and different colors, some Treasured Hem and some Mud Pie and just some different browns. And then my camera had died, but I did go in with more blues as well. So when you see the end result, it's not just the blue tissue paper. I also used a couple of blue sprays as well, just to kind of really give it a lot of depth and shimmer and texture. And now I'm grabbing some liquid gold leafing. This is like molten metal in a bottle. I absolutely love this stuff. So I'm just dipping the bottom of my paintbrush in there and kind of flicking it onto my pieces. This stuff is awesome. If you haven't used it, I definitely recommend it. And then I'm going to take my little chipboard pieces here. I wanted my little canvases to say fly, so I've primed them with gesso, and now I'm going in with the liquid leafing as well on here and painting those. And now I'm taking a little bit more of the gesso that came in the kit this month. And I'm just kind of whitewashing certain areas, kind of toning down the colors, and it also just gives it a lot more depth. Mixed media work, you do a lot of prepping and a lot of background work, and then with me, a lot of it tends to get covered up, but any of the parts that do show through, I don't want there to be any gaps in like the background that I've created, so I definitely make sure I do a thorough job. I've got some scraps of the engraver paper. I do not waste anything, like a 1 inch by 1 inch piece of scrap paper I keep, and these are all little pieces left over like that. So I've just distressed up the edges of them with some black soot Tim Holtz ink, and I'm just adhering them on there randomly. And for pretty much everything I used on here, I'm using Fabri-Tac. I'm a hot glue fan as well, so anything like flowers and stuff, I'm a hot glue girl. But I've found Fabri-Tac recently, and I love it because it adheres everything down, and it's super strong, metals, everything, like it's not going anywhere. And it's also, you know, fine enough to use with just paper too. So typically if I'm not using hot glue, that will be the only other glue you see me using. I'm just going to whitewash up those little letters a little bit. Now I'm going to start adhering my little faux canvases together. I want them to just be attached together. And I plan on buying a little mini easel. I wish I would have had one for this right now so I could show y'all, but I'm definitely going to go buy a little mini easel for this to sit on and sit on my desk here in the scrapbook room. Now I'm taking some of the little bling strips, the new Prima bling strips. I'm not sure the exact name, but they came in our kit this month. And you just cut the little strands of it out, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm using the gold and the black, and I am having a hard time getting the backing off of it. I have nails, but for some reason I just couldn't get it. So you'll see me put this one down and then I'll turn the camera off because it took me a good minute to get the rest of them on there. And now I'm going to go in with some gesso and just kind of touch those up because I don't want them to be so perfectly shiny and new looking. I want them to kind of blend in with the background. Now I'm using one of the beautiful engraver flowers that came in our kit this month as well, in the Technique kit, and I just whitewashed it a little bit. I'm going to adhere that clock down, and I'm just adhering it in the center so I can still tuck things in and out of there as I want to. The one thing I love about the engraver paper is you can pretty much add any other colors you want to it. It's such a neutral range that you can just pick any color combo to go with it. So I've done it in pinks, I've done it in greens, I've done it in blue now. It just goes well with anything. So it's definitely one of my favorite paper lines that Prima has released. Now I want to add those little fussy cut floral elements out of the side there. A lot of times I just play with things and move them around until I figure out the way I want them. These are some little metal leaves that a friend sent me, and they are absolutely amazing. She sent me a lot of metals that resemble the new Prima ones, but these were just spectacular, these little metal leaves. They're super pretty. So I had to use those, and I did just kind of bend them a little bit to get them to form a, not to be just flat, I kind of formed them a little bit. And I'm tucking in those leaves that I fussy cut out from the paper line as well. And you'll see me use a little bit of the ribbon that came in our kit this month from Swirly Doos. I'm kind of whitewashing. I tuck it in there, but at the end I do end up taking that particular little bow piece out and exchanging it with one of the flowers that came in our Technique kit this month. But for now, I'm putting it there. And I'm just adhering my leaves down with the Fabri-Tac. It's a very strong adhesive, and those metal leaves aren't going to go anywhere using that glue. Now I'm going to start adhering down my letters over there, and it does say fly in case it's not showing up on camera. And for the top part, I really wanted it to be decorative, so I've taken some Prima mechanicals, and then also the little flower pieces. I don't think those were mechanicals. I think those were some of the metals my friend sent me, but the little corner pieces there are the mechanicals. And I just cut one single piece in half, and I'm adhering them to the corners there, almost like a fan shape. I just wanted the top part to look really ornate and pretty, so I kind of played around with the chipboard piece that came in our kit this month in the Technique kit, and then I just decided to do metal. So I did whitewash them first, and now I'm just adhering them on the top of there using the Fabri-Tac. And now I'm going to use some of the beautiful ribbon that came in our kit this month as well. It's super, super pretty. It's like burlap and it's stretchy. So I just tied a bow there at the top of it and kind of adhering the ends of it down where I want them to be. So that's basically it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the start to finish process video. If you have any questions at all on anything I did, just shoot me a comment down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Of course, all of this came from CeruleIDoos.com, so make sure to head over and become a subscriber. Bye, y'all.